Hi everyone, Mark Hedley, Australian Wool Network. Just going to go through filling in a classes report and the things that you have to be aware of while you're filling the classes report in. Initially is the owner's details. So obviously the trading name is the most important part, to have that trading name correct address with contact details, and email address is quite important so we can get all our documents sent through to you. Moving across the top boxes, banking details are also important, so BSB number and account number so we can get the proceeds to you as soon as possible. Reasoning behind that is, for some reason, if there is an incorrect number put in, we are notified within a couple of days that your payment hasn't gone through, and we can make that happen as soon as possible, rather than a cheque that goes in the mail and can go astray. ABN number has to be correct, but also the ABN number has to match the trading name. So it's quite important that you have the ABN number in there that is exactly to that trading name. The box here, GST registered, yes or no, we must have that ticked as well. Sale information, first available sale is generally where we would place, but if there is an actual sale that the wool grower would like to target, that would be something that the wool grower could fill in and notify us of. Coming across to your brand. Okay, so whatever is on the bale is exactly what we need to have in this section of the brand. So if the brand is Fairview Farm, and Fairview Farm is across the bale, that's fine. If the brand is Fairview over Farm, what we should have is Fairview with a backslash over Farm, okay? And it is, once again, it is exactly what is on the bale needs to be on the class report, and you can't abbreviate on the bale. So what is on the face of the bale should be on the head of the bale. It shouldn't be an abbreviation of what's on the head of the bale. Obviously the classes details, that's pretty simple. Classer number, name and address, telephone number, and a signature by the classer. Moving back across to the report to start to fill in the report, probably if we were to start on the declaration first, and this is the part where we get most confusion. Across the top of the declaration has the mulesing status examples of what we need. You've got non-mulesed, pain relief and mulesed. They're the only options we can have. There is a question here that says, has mulesing ceased on this property? This is quite an important question, and that needs to be answered with a yes or a no. Can't be left blank. So if you have ceased mulesing on the property, you tick the box that says yes. All right? Now to your mobs. We start at mob 1. Now this class report will give us an example where there is a mixture of numbers. So mob 1 we're saying is bale number 1 to bale number 10, and then bale number 15 to bale number 17. Righto. Mob 2 you can see starts in the break of mob 1. So we started pressing mob 2 at bale number 11. We pressed to 14. Finished off mob 1, and then we've gone back to 18 to 25, and then 28 and 29 at the end of the shed were all mob 2. Mob 3, we've gone bales 26 to 27. So understanding there that there's 29 bales in this wool clip, and we have got covered from bale 1 through to 29 and no bales left out. Just to go back across the top line again, so mob 1 we've got bales 1 to 10, 15 to 17. Age. The age is quite important on the declaration. First thing to remember is 1-year-old is first shearing. So it may be a 1-year-old sheep to you, but if it has been shorn twice on the declaration, it's a 2-year-old. Okay? And there is no such thing as 1.5-year-old or 2.5-year-old. We just stick to round numbers. So if it's a second shearing, you would start with a 2. If it's first shearing, it would be a 1-year-old. On this example, mob 1, we've got from 3-year-olds to 5-year-olds, and that's how we write it, 3 to 5. Just to go back on that, we can't put mixed. You cannot have mixed age, it makes the declaration invalid, so it must have a physical age. Breed code, Pretty simple. It's either M for Merino, XB for crossbred. We can rattle them off. So it's the breed code as per the code of practice. Sex is either ewe, wether, ram, or mixed. We can put mixed in for sex. Righto? Contact with shedding breeds, simple yes or no. Mobbed crutch, once again, yes or no. Crutched in the last 3 months. So if the sheep have been crutched prior to shearing or within 3 months of shearing, that would be a yes. The importance behind this is just gives your dark fibre rating a better rating. Mulesing status, once again, non-mules, PR or mulesed. So individual mobs as they come through. In this example, this mob has all got pain relief. Okay, so that particular mob would be pain relief, and that's got to be signed off by the grower. The rest of the information is obviously stuff that helps us in lotting. Wool quality, fine, medium, strong. Wool growth in months. Average estimated length, just what you think is the average estimated length of each mob. VM, light, medium, heavy, and a VM code if it's burr, if it's shiv, if it's hardhead. That declaration, so as a wool classer, you would fill in as much as you can, and then the base, this part of it would probably need to be filled in by the owner. PIC number, which is your property identification code, and the owner or manager to sign the class report and date it. Once that declaration is filled in, it's quite simple to go through and start filling out your actual classes report. This report, we've got our first line of 4 AM, which we're saying is off mob 1, is bales 1 through to 10 and 15. So there's 8 bales in that line, and we've listed, they match with our declaration. We fill in the 8 bales, we fill in the mob number, and we've jotted in our pain relief. This is optional, we can do that, that's actually office side. And it gives you the ability to put a bin code that you can transfer. This particular report, the classer has opted to put bin code 1 for main lines. Our next line of 4 AM we've gone through is 12 to 23, which is mob 2. Once again, he's put his total bale numbers in and a bin code once again of bin 1, which was his main line. Our third line is 3 AM and it's a tender line. You will notice the class has used a 2 as his bin code. That could also be a T standing for tender if that's what you wish to do. But bales 3, 11 and 16 cross 2 different mobs. So in the mob code it becomes mob 1 and 2. Next line we've done are the weaners. So 3 AM weaners, bale 26 and 27. If we check back to the declaration, bales 26 and 27 are the 1-year-olds, and we've kept them in a separate line. So 2 bales, mob code number 3 to match with the declaration. Once again, we've used a bin code 1 being the way the classer has used 1 as the main line. Broken, so we've put in M broken, bales 6, 17, 22 and 25, and they're basically across mobs 1 and 2. So once again, mob numbers 1 and 2. Next line is our bellies, 8, 18, 24, and again across 2 mobs. So mobs 1 and 2 both contribute to that line of bellies. Last of all, we've got a bale of locks and a bale of stains that were pressed at the end of shearing. In a manual classes report, they're basically fitting these into one mob. We're saying they come out of mob 2. If you use the new wool clip program, you could actually split that, and that could be half a bale from mob 1 and half a bale from mob 2, and hence it'd be mobs 1 and 2, which is probably our preferred option to take you through. The wool clip cluster report eliminates a lot more mistakes, stops you from having duplicate bales and duplicate lines. It just has a lot better system to check what we're doing. Once again, just to go back on things, the description that goes on the classes report has to be exactly the same as it is written on the bales. So if you have branded the bales 4 AM, that's how it goes on the classes report. Otherwise, it just causes problems at our core line, because AWTA will not test wool unless the exact description that's on the paperwork is exactly the same as what's on the bale.